Hey guys, I want to make a video today and talk about the two favorite things that I sell on eBay and how you can too. These are two items that I find extremely profitable, and I just want to talk about why I like selling them so much and just give you a few reasons as to why you should start selling them too. And these two items that I want to talk about today are coffee mugs and books. Now the first reason I'd say that these are so great to get is because you can find them anywhere. Auctions, tag sales, estate sales, flea markets, you name it. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. And they're always found in quite an abundance. When you go find books, you see hundreds of them, thousands of them. When you go see coffee mugs, generally speaking, when you go to a thrift store, how many do you see? There's like hundreds of them, right? So you got to know which ones are which and what they're worth. And that all takes time, but it's very easy to start as a beginner. The second reason I like to buy these, they're very cheap. Most of the coffee mugs you can get them for usually $1 or less. If you're at a tag sale, you can get a whole box for $1. The same goes for books. Most books you can get for $1 or less. Paperbacks around here, some of the places I can get them for 25 cents. At tag sales I can get them for really cheap. At tag sales I could get a whole box for $1. At some of the Goodwills they're a little bit more expensive, but they're still usually under $3, which is cheap. Number 3, they're great for beginners. Some items are very obvious and very easy to tell they're going to be worth money. Obviously, if you see a Starbucks mug like this, it's a beautiful mug. It's great condition. I mean, anybody, Joe Schmo, is obviously going to know that this mug is worth more than $1, right? So you got to go get this mug, and hey, take it home, see what it's worth, and there you go. You just made some easy money. Put that on eBay, you can get 40 or 50 bucks for this mug. So that should be a pretty easy thing for anybody to find. Great for beginners. The same goes for books. You see a giant college textbook for $1. Hey, grab it. That's easy. So these are great items for beginners to look for. People who are just new to eBay or Amazon and they're just trying to make some easy money on the side. Perfect items to look for. Number 4, the return on investment on these is great. I mean, if I get this for $1 and I can sell it for 40 to 50, that's 40 to 50 times my money back. As for books, I just got this book not too long ago. I got it for $1 and I just sold it for 100 bucks. You can go ahead and look up the name if you don't believe me. Tree, A New Vision of the American Forest by James Balog. That is just one example. I mean, this book looks really interesting. If I didn't know much about books, I'd say, this book looks kind of weird. It stands out a little bit. Sure, I'll buy it for $1. I mean, $1, that's so cheap. And the return on investment, I just made 100 times my money back. Minus fees and shipping, that's still awesome. Number 5, these items are all generally very light. A book, I mean, it's usually going to weigh less than 2 pounds. A coffee mug, it's usually going to weigh less than 1 pound. That's really easy. So you don't have to be strong. You could have a bad back. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can sell these items. These are really great items for people who, they don't have a helper to help them move something. So let's say that you're trying to move a table or something, you would need a helper. You would need someone to help you move it. You'd risk hurting yourself. These are great items for people who are older, people who are retired. Hey, you can go find this stuff. You can go do this. Sure, why not? Go for it, Number 6, these items are very easy to store. I could store 200 books on a bookshelf. I could store 100 coffee mugs on a bookshelf. So they don't take up very much space. Taking up space, that's a huge thing, especially if you're living in a small apartment or a condo. Space is everything. Number 7, it's so easy to organize. For books, you can organize it by paperbacks, by hardcovers, by genre. It doesn't matter. And it's very easy to know exactly where everything is. You don't have to rummage through a box. You don't have to go through racks of clothing to figure it out. You could put it exactly where you want it. And for books especially, you could just do it all by barcodes. That makes it really easy. For mugs, you could put them all in different spots, all in different sections, and know exactly where they are. So it's very easy, especially if you're starting out. Number 8. These items are super cheap to ship anywhere in the U.S. A book will generally cost no more than $5 at most. As far as coffee mugs go, you could usually ship them for $5, and if they're a little bit larger, you could usually ship them for no more than $10. And that's anywhere in the U.S., and that's priority mail. Most coffee mugs, generally speaking, if you put them in a box, they're going to cost you about $7.50 probably average. Shipping from like East Coast to West Coast might be a little bit closer to 10, but still, that's not that expensive. Generally speaking, though, I like to get the mugs that I can. Generally speaking, though, mugs that are a bit larger and heavier, they go for like $35 shipped, and if they are mugs that sell for $20, then generally speaking, they're smaller, they're lighter, and they're going to ship for a little bit less. Same goes for books. The more expensive books, generally speaking, are going to be the ones that sell for $80 and they cost $5 to ship. Most of the books that I sell that are like a $10 book or a $15 book, they ship for less than $3. So that's an incredible value. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money on shipping. So the cost of shipping keeps going up. You got to be careful, you know. I think the cost of shipping is going to continue to rise. So what kind of market do you want to be in? What kind of items do you want to be selling? Items that cost a lot to ship, or items that cost next to nothing to ship? There are several items out there. Clothing is another one of them. You ship almost everything first class or priority mail. So just keep that in mind and think about your shipping cost. With coffee mugs and with books, the shipping cost is very low. Number 9. These are items that people need. Let's say that you have a college class or whatever. You know, you need that book. You got to have it. It's required for your class. Or let's say you're studying something or doing some research. You know, you need to do. Let's say you want to learn how to garden or maybe build a shed. These are books that you got to buy. So it's sort of like it's like gotta have it. This is something I need. So people are going to be more willing to buy it. As for coffee mugs, you know, let's say you have a coffee mug in your cabinet and you break it after 20 years. I mean, come on. You got to replace that coffee mug. You have to replace it. So you'll look wherever you can to try to find that thing to be replaced. And if it's affordable, you know, relatively affordable, you're gonna probably replace it. If you have a ton of money, you might replace it. You might pay a lot to replace it. I mean, if you're rich and you've got this mug that you had for 20 years, I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't pay $50 for it if it was precious to you. So there's something to be said for that as well. I've gotten stories from people on eBay, and they've said, oh my God, you know, I gave this mug to my daughter 20 years ago, and she just found out that I broke it last year, and she was devastated by it, and she thought that it would be a nice present to replace it for me. And I can't tell you how much this means to me. Thank you so much for selling me this mug. And I was just taken aback by it, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that it was that important to you. I didn't say that, but I was like, you know, it's incredible. So there's a lot of, so with something like a coffee mug, it's very special to people. And I know that might sound pretty silly, but it gets back to that idea of gotta have it. And number 10, this is probably my favorite reason why I like selling these items. The shipping is very standardized. When I sell a book, it's very easy to wrap up with a corrugated wrap, and it's all set. I don't need 500 different types of boxes. The same goes for coffee mugs. You know, I have maybe 2 different boxes, if that. And usually I just use a padded flat red envelope if it's a really small mug. But yeah, I mean, look, you don't need to have tons of different size boxes, tons of different packing materials. It's very simple, very easy, very standardized. That makes a huge difference. You know, if you're shipping out a whole different variety of items, you got to have all the different boxes, different packing materials, different shipping methods. That just complicates things. It slows things down. If everything is just streamlined, it makes your work a hell of a lot quicker and a lot easier and a lot cheaper. Alright, well that's all I got today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I hope some people learned something, and I hope I sparked some interest in these items for you if you haven't been looking for them yet. I always appreciate your feedback, so let me know what you think. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.